Is New World good? Should you buy it? That's the question we're going to be answering today. I'm going to show you all the game loops, everything to do with this game, all the content. We'll figure out if it's good or not. To start, New World is an MMO being released by Amazon. The game is getting released sometime next year, but before then, Amazon opened up the game to players who had pre-ordered the game for a preview. This isn't the first time they've shown off the game before, but it's the first time they've done it without an NDA attached. The story of the game is that you're an intrepid explorer who's been shipwrecked in the New World. Your captain is taken over by corruption that exists, and you must figure out how to defeat the corruption and form a new life in a strange land. Your character has 5 basic stats that affect their health, melee, magic damage, regeneration of health, and magic. The game attaches your skills to each weapon, which is a unique take on the skill tree. The more you play with the weapon, the more it progresses. Early on, you'll find that the hatchet is probably the best weapon to play with. I found that it was kind of fun to play with. It's very attacking based, you don't really defend. It's got some nice bonuses as you play it. When you kill somebody, you'll get 20% health back. It's quite nice. There's a couple of other things, but you know, all the weapons have kind of health regen things attached to it depending on how you go down the skill tree, but that's up to you. You'll also want to make sure you play with the healing staff. I think the healing staff is definitely an important thing to play with because there's no mounts in the game, and maybe by the time the game gets released there'll be mounts, and hopefully they are. But right now the healing staff has a dash ability which you can upgrade up to about 40 meters I believe, and that is the fastest way to travel throughout the map. So I very much recommend that you take on the healing staff, but it's a little bit weird and I really wish there'd be mounts in the game. I believe the preview probably is set up to be a little bit easier with people progressing quicker because a bunch of people have managed to reach the end of the game, beat the last boss, and reach this kind of arena stage. But nevertheless, I think even if it is set to easier, it shows that there's kind of a lacking of PvE content. And I mean, I haven't played too many hours of it thus far, but I've kind of found that maybe there needs to be more content. The map just kind of feels maybe too small, but at the same time, to navigate throughout the map kind of takes a long time. It's also quite difficult to find some of the basic resources you'll need early on, like iron. There's no place on the map where it frequently spawns more than 3 nodes at a time, which is kind of unlucky. Not unlucky, probably not the best game design. I would hope that there were more regions where you could always assume that there'd be iron there and then you could travel there. Maybe they have difficult monsters defending it, I don't know, but I think that's a feature that should be added. The game has definitely been set up in a PvP manner. Players are forced to choose a faction, and then they can also claim areas of the map. So orgs can claim the areas, and then they can also claim towns, and then you wage wars between factions for each area. Players can also own homes inside of each town. Those homes are instanced, which is interesting. The player who has the most items in their house, so chairs and shelves and stuff like that, and tables, is the one that's going to be shown off most of the time. And it kind of promotes crafting within the game, that you can build furniture and stuff, which I like. I really like that idea. But it's not kind of the same as what they originally showed or kind of said they were going to do. But we'll talk about that later. Crafting is there in the game. It's quite difficult to progress early on. I mean, what do you expect? It's an MMO. But it kind of feels like they're pushing the PvE content to be kind of smaller, quite quick to progress throughout, and then other stuff like crafting is kind of more endgame content that you're going to have to do later on. And you're definitely going to need an org to collect items for you if you want to become a good crafter, I guess. The villages on the maps, which can be claimed by orgs, they can be upgraded with better defenses and better crafting tools. So your town might not have, say, a tier 3 forge, which allows you to create 300 gear items. So you'll need to find a new forge, that kind of thing. So that's a cool feature. I like that. So you can have different towns that specialize in different things. The game, in my opinion, looks very nice. The fighting mechanics I liked. I know people have some issues with them, but I significantly like them. The lighting in the game though is my main issue. It just kind of doesn't feel right. And character creation definitely needs to be improved. I think they'll probably improve it. The lighting on the character as well just isn't right, I don't think. The gameplay after you finish the main quest line, which gives you this item to defeat the corruption portals. It's called like Azos's something or other, Bane of Azos or something like that. And so you go around and you defeat corruption rifts using that. And so it's an interesting mechanic, but eventually becomes boring. It's also one of the fastest ways to gain XP and standing within a region. So I think I probably gained I think it's tier 15 standing in the region that I wanted to buy a house, from like tier 10 in about 2 hours of going after these portals. So it's quite quickly you progress once you start going after these portals. Standing's important because you need to have it to buy a house. So you need tier 15 standing in a region to buy a house. So that's why I got tier 15. But you can also, every stage that you go up with your standing, you can choose to increase XP, reduce taxes, give you an additional collection rates for when you are harvesting items. You can also increase your storage in the region. But yeah, so overall the game's kind of fun to play, but if you had originally bought the game, I think you'd probably be disappointed, because originally it was kind of more sandboxy, with players being able to develop their own towns and that kind of thing. So the towns are more static now, which I guess is kind of disappointing. Yeah. But if you've played the preview, what are your thoughts on the game? I'd love to discuss it down below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in another one. Bye.